Zechariah chapter 14 is the most clear description of the Battle of Armageddon and the millennial reign that you'll get in all of Scripture. It is so exciting because you and I are going to be part of this millennial reign. And so this is how it all ends and begins. Zechariah 14:1. The day of the Lord is coming, a day of judgment on the nations. When your possessions will be plundered and divided up, and your very walls. He's talking to Jerusalem. He says, the whole world, the nations of the world, are coming together against Jerusalem to destroy you. They're going to come into your city, he says. The nations, they're going to capture and ransack your houses, rape women. Half the cities are going to exile. Then the Lord will go out and fight those nations as he fights on the day of battle. So it's like, we see how you fight, God's saying. But wait till you see how I fight. You don't want to fight God. And that's what's going to happen on the day of battle. He sees this unjust thing happening to Jerusalem, and the Battle of Armageddon begins. On that day, his feet, verse 4, will stand on the Mount of Olives. So we know this is not the rapture of the church, because when the rapture of the church is described, do his feet touch down? No. We meet the Lord in the air, and so will we ever be with the Lord. So this is 7 years later. The Battle of Armageddon. His feet touch down on the Mount of Olives. And the Mount of Olives will split in two from east to west, forming a great valley with one mountain moving north and half the mountain moving south. Cataclysmic change to the topographical structure of the city of Jerusalem. Verse 5, you will flee by my mountain valley. He says, this is a way for you to run, the Jews, to be safe. And maybe be safe from the judgment of God even. You will flee as you fled in the earthquake in the days of Uzziah, king of Judah. Then the Lord my God will come, and all the holy ones with him. The holy ones, that's going to be the angels, and very likely the redeemed who have been in heaven, you and I, after the rapture. On that day, there'll be neither sunlight, nor cold, nor frosty darkness. It will be a unique day. A day only known to the Lord, with no distinction between day and night. When evening comes, there'll be light. So we're talking about everything changes. We have no idea. He says it's only known to the Lord, but it's just different time. He says in verse 8, on that day, living water will flow out from Jerusalem, half of it east to the Dead Sea, and half west to the Mediterranean Sea in the summer and winter. That doesn't happen today. That spring, it doesn't exist. He's going to make Jerusalem fruitful. Then verse 9, the Lord will be king over the whole earth. On that day there'll be one Lord, and his name the only name. There is no more religion now. Remember, Satan is cast into hell for 1,000 years. This millennial reign, this 1,000 years. There's no other false religion. He's done away with all of them. There's only one name. Verse 10, and the whole land from Geba to Rimmon, south of Jerusalem, will come like the Arabah, but Jerusalem will be raised up on high. Why? The topography changes. So now Jerusalem's raised up. The Benjamin gate to the first gate to the corner gate to the Tower of Hanel, and Jerusalem will be secure. Verse 11. Verse 12. This is the plague with which the Lord will strike down the nation. So he's going to circle back and he's going to say, this is how I'm going to destroy them. Their flesh will rot while they're standing on their feet. What does that mean? I don't really know. Their eyes will rot in their sockets. Their tongues will rot in their mouth. Many people believe this describes a nuclear war. I don't really know. I just know that God is fighting and this is what's going to happen. On that day, the people will be stricken by the Lord with great panic and will seize each other by the hand and attack one another. This happened with the Amalekites and other times in Scripture where they attack each other and kill each other. Judah will fight at Jerusalem. The wealth of all the surrounding nations will be collected. Great quantities of gold and silver and clothing. So all the wealth of the nations they brought to the battle, Jews like, I guess I'll take that. And that is what they take into the millennial reign. A similar plague will strike the horses and mules and camels and donkeys and all the animals in those camps. Even their animals can't fight. Verse 16, the survivors of the nations that attacked Jerusalem will go up year after year and worship the king. So what's this tell you? That Gentiles, non-Jews, and Jews will survive the Battle of Armageddon and will be living during the millennial reign of Christ. And there's only one religion, and they choose, many of them, to go and worship the king. Now, verse 17 says, if any of the people do not go to Jerusalem to worship the king, the Lord Almighty will have no rain. What's that mean? If the Egyptian people don't go up to take their part, they'll have no rain. The Lord will bring a plague on them. Okay? So, verse 20 completes this. On that day, holy to the Lord will be inscribed on the bells of the horses. The cooking pots in the Lord's house will be like the sacred bowls in front of the altar. Every pot in Jerusalem and Judah will say, holy to the Lord Almighty. And all who come and sacrifice. So what he's saying is this. There's no common thing during that time. Everything sacred, everything common, it's the same. It's all going to be inscribed, holy to the Lord. In other words, it's going to be a different time where everyone knows that Jesus, God, is on the throne. The incredible thing about this is that he says, now some people are not going to worship him. Isn't that astounding? They see him. They saw the Battle of Armageddon. They know what he did. And some will choose, even without the devil's presence on earth, to go against God. And we know that at 1,000 years is over, the Satan will be released from hell, and not hell, but the prison that God puts him in, and he will deceive the nations again, and there'll be a final battle, and at that point there'll be the final judgment, and he'll be cast into hell forever. So this is the clearest description of the future you get, and you are part of it. Take some time today and thank God for his mighty power, his mighty deliverance, and that he includes you and I in this process. God bless you guys. Have a great day.